With over 400 celebrity interviews and tons of pop culture nerdiness, Too Opinionated is a safe haven for your inner geek. Find us at meistercon.com or on YouTube under MeisterCon Pod. And please subscribe. It would really help us out. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actress and author Alondra Delgado with me. So welcome, Alondra.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Yeah, you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah,
very busy.
I'm just like adding more and more. Yes.
Yeah, that's not easy. Where do you find the time to do everything?
Well, I mostly do it during the day. Like when I'm not filming, I always try to have like a part-time just so like I think that I'm doing something and I don't like get stressed out that like, oh, what's my next project and stuff like that. So like normally I try to work at night so I have like the day for auditions and stuff like that. So that's right and just prepare myself for things.
We have enjoyed your appearances on Mayans.
Yeah.
You pop up on there every so often. Really good, really good. And then you've been on the All-American several times.
Yes, Mayans was actually my first like big role here, and like when I moved here, I was like still in college, and it was like the first like big show that I booked. So it's very special to me. I still remember that day.
Yeah, it's got a following. It's a pretty big show.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Hispanic people there, so I enjoy like getting to work with people like me.
Yeah, and you're originally from Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to go back home and visit recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I went, I think last May. Yeah, recently. Just a couple months ago.
We all worry about Puerto Rico because they have had a time, you know, especially with the power over there. They really have a hard time hanging on to power. So it worries.
Yeah, one of my best friends just texted me that like today's day 12. They've been without electricity.
Yeah. And it's not like it's just, you know, perfect weather all the time. They've got really good weather a lot of the time, but it's still warm. Yeah, you still need electricity.
Yeah, I remember like I was like, oh yeah, I like the heat. I'm used to it. And I went back on May and I was like, wow, this is very hot. I don't remember it like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Puerto Rico is definitely on my bucket list of places to visit. My best friend loves Puerto Rico. He's been multiple times, just absolutely loves it, and that makes me want to go check it out because I'm kind of a beach type of guy, so I know you've got good beaches there.
Yeah, I love the beach. It's warm there. I never get on the beach here. It's too cold for me.
Well, yeah, LA. The first time I went to LA, it's been several years ago. You know, I love being out in the water. So I'm like, I know it's supposed to be cold, but I'm going to try it. And I got to like thigh high and couldn't feel my legs. It was so cold.
Ice cold.
I mean, it is. And there was people out there just swimming away, no wetsuit, like it was nothing. And I'm like, I'm
like, oh, that's not going to be me.
Yeah, that's not for me. So I jumped ahead a little bit, and I definitely want to talk about the book because it's terrific. But let's start here. Tell me a little bit about what got you into the entertainment business. Why did you want to become an actress?
I started very early. My mom says that like when I was very young, like 3 years old, I was like say aquí ahí, which means like me there inside the TV. And at first she sense, but then she like saw that I started to like act out like telenovela scenes and stuff like that, and she was like, oh, so we went to watch a play, and I was like, Mom, there's kids in the play, and she was like, do that. So she talked to the producer, and she's like, hey, she's saying in it. Like, okay, bring her over, like audition and stuff like that. So I started to do theater when I was 4, and then I loved it. I had fun. Yeah. So then my mom was like, okay, let's try to find out like a talent agency. And they put me in one. And I did my first feature when I was 7. And after that, like every year I would just do stuff. Like I was never a girl. So instead of being like in sports tournaments and stuff like that, I was just in filming. That was like my fun thing to do. And that was it. I just fell in love with it. And I was like, yeah, I want to continue doing this when I grow up.
Yeah, good for you for knowing what you wanted to do that early, because that's so rare. Normally
Yeah.
you're that age, there's a zillion things you want to do, and you don't end up doing any of them.
I know. Yeah. No, I always said, I was like, I want to be an actress. My mom was like, they were all very supportive. So I was like, I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to go to a college over there. And they all moved over here with me. They were like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing. Is that when you came over? Was around college age?
when I graduated high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so terrific. Do you dance? Do you sing? Do you do other creative things?
Singing, I've been dancing since I was like 2.5. So I enjoy that. I haven't done it in a while, but I enjoy that. Singing? No, I don't think so. I write songs sometimes, but I just sing them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can write and not sing. Get somebody else to do that.
Exactly.
So what point did you know that in addition to being able to act, that you could also write?
I was a very dramatic child. I've been writing poems since I was 8 years old, talking about love and stuff like that, as if I knew. Um, so I've always had like my little notebook of just like where I write poems and stuff like that and stories. And it was recently, like 8 months ago, I was like, you know what? Like I have all this just in my computer and my notebook, and nobody like reads them or anything. And before I was just doubting myself, being like, oh, who's gonna read my poems and stuff like that.
Right.
But then I'm like, hey, like who's reading them now if I have them like just saved up and no one's seeing them? And I was like, poetry for me has helped me in many ways when like I've been like not feeling so good in life and stuff like that. So in a way it can help others that are feeling the same thing to see like they're not alone and stuff like that. So I was like, I might as well do it. If 10 people read it, that's 10 people that maybe I can change or I can like touch in a certain way. So I decided to just do it.
Yeah, I love that. And it does take some courage to put that out
Yeah.
there, because especially with poetry, I think because poetry is so personal,
Yeah.
it's usually dealing with personal stuff. And that's difficult to open up and kind of let people see what's going on inside of you a little
Yeah.
bit.
It's very intimate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. So what's the name of the book?
It's half in English, half in Spanish. So is mejor to say adios, which translates to it's better to say goodbye.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Well, so the poetry is beautiful in either language. It sounds amazing. So I was reading my wife's father was born and raised in Juarez, so she understands the Spanish side of it. So we were reading it together, and she was translating for me with that. So and it's just terrific. You're really talented, and I enjoy it. It's kind of emotional.
Yeah, it's very emotional. I was like, when I was like editing it and like looking at all the pages, I was like, is there any happy poems here? I was like, wow, there's like two only. But again, it's like it's on times that I needed to just write and let go of like emotions and like maybe like I just didn't feel like putting all of that like on my family or my
Yeah.
friends. I was like, oh, I'll just write it out and like that's the way of me just expressing it. So it helped me a lot.
Yeah. How far back did the poems go? Have you been collecting them over the years, or did you write all this kind of like recently?
No, they go back like 7 years. I think I started to write on that specific notebook once I moved here.
Yeah. Do you look back at some of those earlier poems and think, "Oh, who was that girl?"
I know, no, yeah, definitely. And like looking back too, I was like, oh, like I identify obviously with some of them still, and then some of them are like, no, Alondra, like no, like why was I crying because of this? Like no, you have to move on. So I think because I think they're sort of like in order, like the ones like at the end of it are the most recent ones, and those ones are the more like specifically based on like self love and like letting go and just like becoming
Right.
better person. So I think it's been like a whole process. That's like a little compilation of like Alondra who got here and was younger, was naive, and went through a lot, and then Alondra now rediscovering herself and working on like being a better version of herself for me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think that's admirable that you're able to get that stuff down. Do you plan to continue to write? Are we going to get a sequel to this book?
I mean, I definitely do want to continue to write poems, and I'm still doing it. But right now, I'm really focusing on writing a feature film. I've been having I've been having an idea since I was 15 years old, and again, like I've written some stuff, but I haven't taken the time and energy to really sit down and write it. So I think that's my next thing. It's something
are you writing it as a screenplay, or are you writing it as a novel?
So I at first it was always a novel. So now I'm still like deciding, should I just like finish it as a novel and then do an adaptation as a screenplay?
Right.
I should just write it as a screenplay. So I'm between both, but the idea is there.
Yeah, I love that. So what's the genre?
It's kind of like drama. Yeah, it's drama. But I need to do it fast because I want to be able to. Oh, wait, do you see me there? I want to be able to, I want to be able to play the lead girl, obviously. So
that was my next question.
Oh,
is are you going to act in it?
Definitely, I want to be the lead girl. Yeah, they say like, hey, like sometimes if you're not finding the characters that you want to play, or not getting the auditions, like you have to write them for yourself. So
yeah, I completely agree with that. So are you writing that character as you, or are you writing that as someone you would like to play?
Yeah, I'm writing as someone I would like to play. It obviously has a little bit of similarities to me, but I want her to be different as well.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. Are you the killer?
No. But I'm not the killer, but I do have a movie that's coming up, hopefully at the end of this year or beginning of next year, where it's an action film. So like I do get to be like full in blood and like running and doing my own stunts, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What's that one called?
It's gonna be called The Safe House.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That was probably the one you were talking about. So you're like the female lead in that one.
Yeah, I am. And that was actually like almost 3 years ago. I was younger. And we filmed it, and half of it was in Mexico, half of it was in like Jaca Valley. It was a lot of fun, and it was my first action film, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Is it a different level of, not necessarily bad stress, but a different level of stress if you're in one of the main roles as opposed to, say, a secondary role or a guest star?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like when I was filming All American, I was pretty nervous just because it was a show that I had watched and followed from the beginning.
Right.
So obviously you come in with this pressure of like and expectations because you know so much of the show. But being a lead character in a movie, yeah, it's a lot because everything kind of like evolves around you. So it's like, oh, like I have all this like weight on me.
I mean, do you feel responsible for like the other actors on set? You know, do you kind of take on that role as like, oh, I'm the lead, I guess that's the example?
Well, I mean, obviously I was the one who was like, just go for it. Like, because there was a lot of like stunts and stuff that like I had to crawl on the dirt, like inside a tunnel. And like I remember that some of the people were like, oh, like we're really doing that, whatever. I was the first being there, like, yeah, let's do this, you know? So I kind of like was like kind of like putting like the motivation and like the courage for everyone. But it was definitely it was mind changing a lot. I remember there was days that I would like be inside the tunnel, and then at night I would have a fever just because it was hot in the desert. It was a lot of physical things. So like at night I was like in the bed with a fever, people taking care of me. I'm like, okay, no, but I'm good. Let's do this tomorrow again.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were the one that the rest of the cast either admired or maybe hated a little bit because you were
probably like Alondra. You say yes, we all have to say yes. Come on. Yeah.
Did I see that you had written or maybe directed, produced something with that with some short films?
Oh yeah, those were some short films that I did. That was actually my first time like actually writing. And yeah, I did some short films and I acting on them, and it was a lot of fun. And that's
Yeah.
something that I was actually talking to one of my friends the other day. He's a director. I was like, we should just do this more. Like I can write them, you direct them, and like we just do it for fun because we have a lot of friends that are just in the industry, and there's a lot of stories that need to be told.
Yeah, for sure. And now's the time to tell them there's so many avenues to get your
Yes.
creative processes out there.
Yes.
So, have you considered writing a children's book?
You know what? Like a lot of people have been asking me that, and I've been seeing a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
I think if I do it, I think I would like to do it in Spanish first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't given it a lot of thought, but a lot of people recently have been mentioning it, and I'm like, hey, I might.
Well, so I'm a fairly recent granddad, a pawpaw for that. So I've got four grandkids, but they're all really young. But that was kind of my thought because we're well, I say we, but my wife, she's trying to teach them Spanish, not just English, because that's the time to learn.
Yes, when they're
when
very
you're young. So that was kind of what I was thinking. I was like, well, I could use a children's book written in Spanish.
Yeah.
If I can put that bug in your ear.
Yeah.
You have to do it for the grandkids.
That's true. Hey, and then my kids are gonna need it too at some point, like
That's
when
right.
I have kids. Yeah. I want to make sure that obviously I teach them both English and Spanish.
I think just the way the world is now, where we're so much more connected. There's before, if you were out of country or even out of the state, it was really hard to connect with anybody.
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, there just wasn't any way to do that really quickly. But now everything's at your fingertips. So I think in this type of world, you almost have to learn how to communicate in other languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot tougher for us old guys trying to pick up new languages. But when you're really young, it's not even that hard.
Yeah. Kids are like sponges. They like suck everything up. Yeah.
Well, they'll count, they'll go between English and Spanish counting and don't even realize they're doing it, just back and forth. But they'll also sign. They'll do sign language while they're doing it. I'm just amazed at that. I'm like, I couldn't learn that.
My mom is a dual bilingual teacher here.
So wow.
She does that. She teaches Spanish and English to them, which is pretty cool. And she's a kindergarten teacher. So you have these little kids that are learning to know both languages. So it's crazy.
Well, and they, at that age, they're excited to learn.
Yes.
They haven't figured out that, school's not always the best.
School is fun still at that age.
So if you weren't in the entertainment business, what would you be doing? Would you still be a writer?
No, I think probably a doctor, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I was always interested in that, and it's something that like passionates me too. So every time like I will be little, and every time like someone will fall or stuff like that, I will be like, I'll take care of it. I'll clean it up for you. Don't worry. And still to this day, like I'm always like doing that for other people. So yeah, maybe hopefully one day I can get to play a doctor on screen. So
yeah, we need to make that happen. Preferably like in an action movie or TV show.
I mean, on this action film, like my character Carla, she's also studying to become a doctor. So I got to like do with that too, and like take care of some people who have wounds and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. So
Safe House 2, Carla could be a doctor in it.
Yeah, she's basically a doctor. She's just studying to be a doctor, but the circumstances that she gets in makes her like engaged with like stuff that a doctor would do.
Yeah. Do you have aspirations at some point to step behind the camera? Do more of a directing type of role?
I would like to direct. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's something that would be cool. Obviously, I think I need a little bit more of knowledge, but it's something that I find very cool, like being able to work with actors. Because at the end of the day, a director has a lot to do with the actors' performances as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't you play that? You're like your dad's the head coach, right? On the
My mom,
All
my mom is the
American. Oh,
coach
your
in
mom
high
is.
school. Yeah, my dad is a coach in college, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, very good, very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, what's it like working on a CW show? Because they're kind of known for a certain type of show. It's very teen angsty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of drama.
A lot of drama. I'm like, wow, high school was not like this when I was in high school. but again, I never went to high school in America, so maybe it's different here.
It may
But
be.
I know, but it's a lot of fun though. It was definitely a lot of fun. It was a great experience. And just being I remember my first time even being on the lot in Warner Brothers. That was one of like my biggest dreams ever, just to be on it. So everything felt like a dream. It was a lot of fun. Everyone the thing is like everyone obviously is young, it's my age. So I had a lot to like relate to everyone, which was pretty cool. I learned a lot from just what it means to be on like a big show.
Yeah, yeah, which is a very good skill to have
Yeah.
because I think it's underrated. You know, if you've never done network TV, there's a learning curve.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Are you still like doing auditions remotely, or are you more
No,
in person?
yeah. Most of the auditions are like remote. Like that's why I got like my own little set and my apartment and everything. Luckily, one of my best friends, she's a an actress too. So every time I have an audition, I'm like, come upstairs, help me out. Or if she needs it, I'm like, okay, I'm coming downstairs to help you out. Most of them are like today. I just got the call and they were like, oh, it's gonna be in person. That's why I was like, oh, because I all this time I thought it was gonna be like in the house. I was like, okay, perfect. I have time after I finish the interview. And then I read the email again. It's like, oh, in person. I'm like, oh no. So I was like, I guess I'll have to do the interview in the car. Yeah.
Well, to my credit, though, I did offer to reschedule.
Yes, but that's no, we go full way. That's how I am.
You know what I would like to do as a podcaster? I would like someone to take me at some point into an audition and just let me observe.
Yeah.
With I don't know how you do that, but because they're always like they're so protective of those auditions. But I would love to be a fly on the wall, one of them. And we're back. You may not have realized we were gone, but we were gone for a second. Now
We're back now. No, but I was saying about the auditions. No, it's definitely like I think it's definitely much simpler than like what we think. Most of the time, it's like, oh, you go in and like you say your lines and whatever. They're like, okay, that's it. You're like, okay. So that's why sometimes I'm like, well, I think it went well because like I think I did all my lines and like the emotion was there. But like sometimes you don't even get feedback or anything. They're like, great, and then they call you and you're like, oh, I thought they hated it, you know. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's pretty simple, but like I stress about it obviously because it's impossible not to be nervous, especially when it's something that you really, really want.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So do you prefer being in person or do you like the remote auditions?
I think I like obviously the adrenaline you kind of feel whenever like you're gonna like enter the office and everything. But I'm a perfectionist, so I like the fact that like when you're doing it at home, you can do it as many times as you want, and you
Right.
can really like just commit and like look for the best take. But that can be good or bad because at the end of the day, there's not gonna be a perfect take. So you're just gonna
That's
be
right.
picking and like searching and trying. Oh, let me just do it one more time, you know. So I definitely do miss going in person and like just that connection because like sometimes they can like really like you as a person so they can be like okay let's try it this way or that way just because they know what the director is looking for. So
Yeah.
sometimes yeah so
Yeah,
sometimes
you
you can
get
get
that
that feedback.
direction. It
Yes.
seems like, and not that I'm an actor, but it seems like if you're in person, you might get more opportunities because they can direct you. Whereas
Yeah,
if
and
you
they can
do the
really get to
tape,
see you.
you're right.
Yes.
And sometimes it's all about just making that connection and letting them see a little bit of your personality. Where on a tape, not so easy to do. They may watch a few seconds and be like, nope. Where if you were in person, they might say, well, try it this way. Try doing this, and then you might get the part.
Yeah, so it has its good things and its bad things. Because like I said, obviously, if you have a very emotional scene, well, you can prepare for it better at home, and you can take as much time as you want. But yeah, as far as like the connection and just being there, and maybe the person just liking you as who you are, that obviously will always be better in person.
Yeah. So what genre have you not got to do that you would like to do?
Like scary movies, thrillers.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love scary movies. I love them.
But are you talking scary or like gory?
Well,
so I'm with you. I'm with you on the scary. If you want to do a scary movie, I will watch that. But
yeah, no, yeah.
I may be out.
No, I think I mean like the scary ones. I've auditioned for it. I auditioned for the last one of Annabelle, and that was a lot of fun. Yes.
Yeah.
So I was definitely like doing one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would do very well in that. Do you have a good horror movie scream?
I haven't thought about that. Like it's honestly always very like self-conscious, I think, when I have like
that's hard to do.
Yeah, auditions that you have to like actually scream and stuff like that. It's like, how do you do it? Because like you're not screaming 24/7, so no. I don't even know how
no, you have to like trick yourself into being scared for a second.
Yeah, without making it sound like fake, obviously, because it could sound fake too. So
well, that was kind of why I asked, because I mean, do you practice that? Because like with me, I don't even know how I would practice. I think I would just try to do it in the moment, but that could go wrong really fast.
Well, we all know what I'm going to be doing like on my drive home today. That's what I'm going to be doing in the car.
Please keep the windows down.
Yeah, that's another thing. You cannot be practicing that in your house or apartment. People are going to be like, is she okay?
Yeah, is she all right? I have heard of actors that have posted on their door that, hey, I'm practicing, or I've got an audition or whatever. I'm okay.
That's funny because the other day I was going to throw away my trash, and like in the trash chute, there was a letter, and they were saying like, oh, I'm going to be like doing a self-tape downstairs between this and that time. If you guys hear it, I'm fine. Don't call the police. I saw that. I was like, that's hilarious.
That's pretty funny. But it's smart, especially in a city, because there's so many people around you.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'd call the police if I heard somebody screaming like
you never know. And nowadays with so many crazy things happening, it's like, yeah, you've got to make sure.
I live, so I'm in West Virginia, and I'm just in a small town outside the capital. But it's one of those towns that anything that happens, like if you call the police for any reason, you're going to get like the entire department.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's just not that much to do. So you may get 10 or 12 police officers showing up, for a fender bender or something, anything.
I used to live in Burbank, which is a small little city in LA, and Burbank has its own district. So it's always like that. Something happens and the whole police department is there, and like everyone's like, oh my God, what happened? Nothing that is not like not 15 cars are needed there. But
I always laugh at the poor guys that get pulled over. They were speeding or whatever, they get pulled over, and there's like 6 police cars behind them. They're freaking out.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Alondra, thank you so much. This has been terrific. I was so excited to talk to you. I think you're such a talented actress.
Thank you.
I'm not so sure that you're not even a better writer. You're really good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. I've been very happy with the people who have been buying my book, and it's very special. And it's like I said, it's very intimate. So it feels like I'm letting people into like who I'm truly in. Yeah.
I think that's terrific. And you have to come back when you write the next one, or maybe after Safe House comes out, you got to come back and talk some more.
Yeah. I'm very excited for Save Us to drop and everyone to see it. So yes.
When's it due?
Right now they're in distribution process, so hopefully they can get it out by the end of the year.
Yeah. Cross our fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So a couple of things before I let you go. Anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Well, hopefully I can book this audition that I'm gonna go right now. So we'll see.
It's going to happen. You let them know. Let them know. That you were talking to me. I'm sure that'll grease them.
They have to know everything I went through today to just be there in the audition.
Right.
So yes.
That's right. Oh, they'll be like, "Oh, you're talking to Mike? Yeah. You've got the job. No need to audition.
Yeah. You don't need to. Yeah, that's fine.
So last thing, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me everywhere at Alondra Delgado.
Yeah, I'm very jealous of your TikTok because TikTok, for an older guy, that's very intimidating. But you do a really good job on there.
Hey, you don't know. I've seen some people, so you just have to be consistent. Yeah,
that's it. I think with TikTok, there are so many creative people. Some of the stuff is ridiculous, but some of it is so creative, and you're just like, oh my gosh, where have these?
And people? I learn a lot.
Yeah.
Every day I'm like having a conversation. I'm like, I saw this on TikTok. I'm like, oh, okay, Alondra, here we go.
But TikTok is very easy. You can lose a whole day if you're not. You got to set a time limit for yourself.
It's dangerous. Yeah,
it's dangerous. Well, Alondra, so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And let's do it again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
You get this audition, I might be your good luck charm. Then you got to call me like every time you go in.
Every time. We might have to. Let's see. Fingers crossed.
All right. Hold on one. All right. So that was the talented Alondra Delgado. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Apologize for the brief interruption that we had. I was telling Alondra off camera that's kind of the beauty of Zoom. You're going to have internet drops. This one happened to be on her side, but I've definitely had my share on my side. Hopefully I caught it quick enough that you only had a few seconds of dead air before we were back. Really talented young lady. Love her work on All American. She was terrific on Mayans M.C. Obviously, she's getting some notice. She's got a lead role in the movie Safe House coming out, and a really talented poet. I was really impressed with her writing. So definitely check that out as well. I think we're going to hear a lot more from her, Alondra Delgado. So thank you guys so much. If you like this interview, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, and you haven't subscribed to us yet, please help us out. Consider subscribing. It really does make a difference for us, and it's free. Doesn't cost you anything, but allows us to go and request to speak to these wonderful, terrific guests, and then we can say, this is what we can offer. So that's where I wish that it wasn't like that. We didn't have to plead for subscriptions, but I do believe that there's a ton of really good content that you'll benefit from. So please consider that. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod, or wherever you listen to a podcast, please subscribe. You can find I think today we put episode 463 out. So you can find all of those audio and video on our website, meistercon.com. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're going on location, if we're covering a convention, whatever we have going on, that'll be on the website, meistercon.com. And you can also communicate with us, give us some feedback. I don't mention it a ton on here, but we started out just as a Facebook page called MeisterCon, as you'll see behind me. And that was 9 years ago. And we started the podcast a little less than 4 years ago. But that Facebook page, we're at about 150,000 followers. So you can find us on there. We put a ton of just funny, positive, improve your day, especially if you're geeky or nerdy, on there. So check that out, MeisterCon on Facebook. We also are on Instagram, TikTok. We do not have the following that Alondra does, but we put a lot of clips from our interviews. A lot of those clips are not ones that make the full interview that we post on YouTube. So you can find some different things on there, but we put those on TikTok or on Instagram or on Twitter, wherever you want to find us, we'll find us. And if you want even more, we have a Facebook group called Meisterchondriacs. Easier to read than to say, Meisterchondriacs. So if you're really geeky and you want a little bit more, you can join that group. We've got about 30,000 members on there. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate the support. Until next time. Bye, everybody.